Hi, Miss Susan. Give us a second. We're going to allow others to establish connection, and then we'll start about 5 after. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Victoria.
Hello, how are you?
All righty, we're going to start about 5 after, allow people to join in. Thank you for joining us, helping us out. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hi, Austin. Thank you for joining us. And Joseph, thank you.
Hi.
We're going to start about 5 after, allowing others to establish connection and get in real good. And just to let everybody know, we'll record these for the sake of allowing others to hear the questions, in case they weren't able to join the session, because a lot of these questions, uh, you know, others need to hear too. So just to let y'all know, we're going to just record this and then publish it um, just so others can, use the questions and the answers for their benefit too. Thank you all so much for being with us.
I don't know how to do this.
All righty. Welcome everyone to the Q&A session 2 for the Stormwater Quality Projects Incentive Grants Program. This session is for the sake of our FY27 Class B infrastructure grant applications, and we want to help you basically just help you navigate the application process and answer any questions that you might have to make it easier for you, hopefully, and that you could take back to your constituents and communicate and ease their any concerns that they may have. So thank you for joining us. My name is Frank Mapson. I'm starting off the introductions. I'm Frank Mapson with the Lexington with the Stormwater grant program. I oversee the grant program. And then we have other staff members, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves as well. And then we'll circle back around and we'll get started. Victoria is going to be our moderator for the day. Victoria, you on there? Just kind of introduce yourself and, and make a statement.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I've been working with Frank and Denise to put the infrastructure grants online this year. So I can probably answer some of your questions about the online application. And I've been digging into them, so I've got a little bit of information, but I still think Frank will be your best bet for in the details questions.
Thank you. Denise, say hi.
Hi, I'm Denise. I will help you move through through the grant process.
Yep.
To make it smooth as possible.
Alrighty. Thank you all. We will start by, I'm going to share my screen. First of all, let me give you our opening statement about the grant program. The Stormwater Quality Projects Incentive Grants Program was established to assist property owners, businesses, and organizations in the implementation of projects that serve to improve water quality through innovation and education throughout Fayette County. These projects, it's the Stormwater Grant Program, I should say, derived from the establishment of the Water Quality Management Fee, which is administered by the Division of Water Quality. And the ordinance of reference is Chapter 16, Article 14. And again, it contains the enabling legislation that supports the guidance contained in the application packet that you'll see when you go to actually apply. Obviously, the Division of Water Quality and our program shares the same mission, which is to help establish financial assistance for projects that improve water quality or reduce stormwater runoff, or I should say, educate the public about water quality improvements and reducing stormwater runoff. The application packet itself, it lets you know what the requirements are in terms of how to become eligible and what you need to do in those regards. It has several bullets. I'm going to share the screen so you can kind of see. I won't read off each bullet, but I'll go kind of comment on some important ones. So give me a second. First of all, I want to teach you for those that don't know how to navigate to the application, we'll start by just sharing the screen so we can show folk how to get there. And I'm not a professional on how to share the screen, so bear with me on that. If you don't mind, let me see here. Let me pick the window. Okay, and then let's see. Can anyone see that? No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you navigate from the city's main web page and you go down to the departments and you locate water quality, you'll end up, let me go back one so you can kind of see. This is the water quality's main page. And if you go down, scroll down a bit, you'll see a link for the Stormwater Incentive Grant Program, which is where we are here, which is hopefully how you got the link here.
Sorry, Frank, I cannot see the website.
You can't see the screen I'm sharing here?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay.
We're still seeing you.
Are you still seeing me? Okay, hold on.
Scratching your head.
Yeah. Okay. Let me find. Oh, I'm sorry. How about this one? Let's see. How about this?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I'm sorry. Again,
Perfect.
I'm not professional on screen sharing, but I've managed to find it. So, again, going back, if you make it to our water quality page, you'll see this. That's under departments and programs. And if you scroll down, you'll see the Stormwater Quality Projects Incentive Grants Program tab. You would click that and you arrive here. This is probably how you found the link to this meeting here. But to navigate to the application, you'll see a portion of the screen that says 3 types of grants are available. You click in here under the Class B Infrastructure tab here, and then you'll click Learn More. where again you'll see the Q&A link, but then you'll start to see these application information, and here you will see the tab for the actual online application that you see highlighted in yellow here. We're not going to click that just yet because I'm going to let Victoria go through that online application with you, and then but I'm going to show you some buttons before here. This Class B infrastructure application packet is a very important document. This is the document that's going to show you what the eligibility requirements are, as well as the types of projects available, the type of grants we offer, as well as our funding structure. It'll give you all that information, and it also has the scoring sheet, so you can see when you turn in your application, these are the items we will be referencing. This is the scoring matrix, the scoring sheet that staff uses when we present the applications, and then we just kind of go through and find this information in the application, and we'll rank it. We'll rank the applications after the scoring is completed, and this is how we divvy out the funds. It's basically the higher you score, the greater the chance you are to receive funding. This is a competitive process, so again, we rank the applications, and then we divvy out the funds until those funds are exhausted. It also gives you a link to the scoring the how to score it. So it tells you exactly what we are going to be looking at when we apply those numbers. So that way you can score yourself. I said that to say so you can score yourself to try to get close to what you think. Of course, everybody's going to probably be a little biased on their own application. We expect that, but you at least get an opportunity to see how you should score and whether or not there's room for improvement in certain areas as you look to propose different items. You might want to add something because you say, oh yeah, I didn't know we can do that. I didn't know we receive points for that. So you might want to add that in. For example, there's an educational component. So if you're proposing, let's say, permeable pavers or something like that, to receive additional points, you might look to add in an educational component like a sign or do a pamphlet or a seminar about the stormwater improvement process or about the stormwater improvement that you're proposing to attach an educational element to it. There's also an example budget document. The budget Excel sheet? You can actually use that. We want you to use that to apply your budget. That way, because this budget document will get incorporated should you be awarded, we're going to incorporate this budget document into the attachment A document, and this will be the budget that's established as part of the contract. You also see an example of a grant award agreement, i.e. contract, for your project if you're awarded, as well as the attachment A that I just mentioned. Attachment B, which is regarding maintenance for either a feasibility study or regular type of projects. So I just wanted you to be aware of those links. One of the very most important is the, let me plug up I'm sorry. I have to plug up my laptop before I go here. Oops. I'm sorry. I don't want to run out of battery. Forgive me. I didn't realize my laptop wasn't plugged in. But the application packet document is the most important link here so you can see what those eligibility requirements are. So we don't want you to go through all the process and not be eligible at the end of the day. So I'm going to click on this link here, and hopefully everybody can still see that. This is the application packet document here that you see on the screen. And it'll give you some of the things I've already commented on. Here's kind of like an overview that the sheet has with it. It talks about eligibility requirements, the guidelines, proposed funding, reporting requirements, and things of that nature. Commenting on the eligibility requirements, one of the most important is, is the type of projects. Your project has to be either an infrastructure project or education project when it comes to Class B. Class B, I'll tell you the difference between that. Class A type grants are for neighborhoods. So those are meant for associations, homeowners associations, community associations, and those type of organizations that typically do projects in communal areas or parks or something like that. Class Bs are for Class B fee payers. So if you have a business and you pay the water quality management fee based on the impervious surfaces that you have on your properties, then you would likely be a Class B fee payer. And you can check that by looking at your LexServe bill and looking at your water quality management fee. If you see them charging you multiple ERUs, then you will likely be a Class B fee payer. Homeowners for Class A, they only pay one residential unit. They only pay a flat fee um, uh, at this time. So that's the structure, and that's kind of the distinguishment between a Class A fee payer and a Class B fee payer. Who can apply for funding? Here's who can apply for funding. Owners of a Class B parcel who pay the water quality management fee, or tenants. So if you're a tenant, you're not the property owner, but you're a tenant and you're renting a space, you also are eligible. However, the property owner will be required to sign, as well as you, to the contract if you are awarded. But in general, groups that are legally incorporated, organized as a corporation, that means we're going to go on to the Kentucky Secretary of State website to verify that you are that your business is legitimate and that you are active. And also, another important, that all the projects have to be located in Fayette County. Those are very important. Let me see, what are some other, another important point is that you have to be in compliance with all LFUCG codes of ordinance. So, no matter if it's, not only do you have to be current on your LexServe bill, on your water quality management fee and all the other bills, but you also have to be in compliance with any code of ordinance that Lexington has established. Let me see. The maximum allowed request for this year is 360,000, and it's a not to exceed amount. So, and then there's a cost share mechanism. The applicant will be required to cover 20% of the total project cost, which means whatever you're asking us for, we're expecting our portion to cover 80%. That's the minimum requirement. You can offer to pay more. We don't shy. I mean, we don't frown at that, but you are required to at least incorporate a 20% cost share of the total project cost. Let me see. Like I said, I won't go through all of them. You all can pull up this at your leisure to kind of wiggle through those. But I will go through. Here is some resources for you. If you got questions about projects and parks, or if you got questions about permitting, engineering, right-of-way questions, or utilities, here's some contact information located in that packet. You can contact these individuals and just ask those individuals about whatever you're proposing or your concerns are in those regard. Let me see. I'll scroll down here. I'm just going to make it quick so we can get to the questions real quick. Let me talk about the types of projects. The Class B infrastructure is broken out into these three type of projects. We have feasibility only grants. These are for individuals that may not be sure of what type of project or what BMPs they want to incorporate. They may have an issue, flooding or what have you, water quality issue or whatnot, but sometimes a feasibility is the way to go to determine the best, so you can get the most bang for your buck on the project. So we love the board loves those types of projects because we know that the research has been done, to try to narrow down the best possible solution. Those grants are a $55,000 maximum request. Now, if somebody requests a portion of those funds and is awarded, then the remaining funds will be offered to the next ranking application for feasibility only grants until that $55,000 pool is used up. We also have projects $75,000 or less. This is for small projects because typically our score sheet is geared toward the larger impervious areas. For example, a large parking lot. So we wanted to give the little guy, the smaller businesses, an opportunity to try to be awarded funds. So we have allocated funding just for those smaller projects, and the maximum request for those currently is 75,000. And all the remaining funding, the funds will go to projects, the regular design and construction projects, with a maximum, again, request of $360,000. In terms of expenses, like, we give you some examples of the types of expenses that are eligible for reimbursement, and I won't go through those, but this grant packet does incorporate that information too. So just be aware of that. Here's a list of them right here. We'll go through those. And here's important: what types of expenses are not eligible? Be mindful of that as well, so you'll know what not to try to include in your budget. Um, as far as grant reporting, if you're awarded, then we're going to ask you to report to us quarterly, and then we're going to provide you with some documents, some required documents for that reporting and to request the funds. So this packet lists those documents as well as a lot of additional information. I won't go through those again. At the end of the project, we're going to ask you for a final report. We're going to retain 10% of the funds, the grant funds, until we receive the final report and all the deliverables for the project. So be mindful of that as well. Here's just how the the funds are divvied out. I'm sorry, the scoring. Here's how the scoring impact is impacted right here. 45% is for project impact, 10% for project implementation, 15% for education, 20% for sustainability, and the final 10% is for cost efficiency. That's how the score sheet is weighed, I should say. Okay, here's the funds available for FY27. So far, we have 1 million, and we received 10% of the water quality management fee, and this is the amount that we were allocated for Class B infrastructure for the fiscal year 2027. We received $1,292,179.38, and they're divvied out, as I mentioned earlier, $55,000 for feasibility only grants. There's a total of $193,000 approximately for projects $75,000 or less, and then the remaining funds for regular design and construction projects. So again, I just wanted to kind of comment on the form here. That's very important. This is where you're going to find most of the answers to the questions you're looking for once we end this call here. It also gives you an example schedule, and it also shows you a picture of an example budget that you will see similar in your attachment A document if you are awarded. So I'm going to stop sharing that. I just wanted to make a comment on that because that's a really important document for everyone to use as a tool as you're navigating the online application. Of course, we'll be here through email or phone call anytime. We also have some office hours set aside. So if you want to have a one-on-one with the staff, you can sign up. I think those time slots are available online for you to sign up, and then we'll be glad to meet with you. Otherwise, again, you can call us anytime, and we'll reach back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to pass the mic to Victoria just to go through the online application. Victoria, are you prepared to do that?
Sure, I can do
Yeah,
that.
please. All right.
I'm also not an expert at sharing my screen, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah, thank you.
It won't take too long. Let's see. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, we see you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can see the Google.
Yeah, we're Googling with you.
Okay. So to get to the online application, you'll go to lexingtonky.gov/incentive grants. And you can go down where Frank was to the infrastructure grant. And this button right here will take you to the online application. So once you're in here, the important thing is to save and continue later. You're going to have to go down to the bottom and you'll hit save and resume later, and it'll take you to a spot where you'll put in your email address. If you don't do that, you won't be able to return to what you've been working on. So that's super important. You'll get a link in your email address to return to it.
Victoria, sorry. Can you blow that up a little bit? Can you zoom?
Sure, let's see what I can do.
My eyes are terrible.
It's a little small. Is that better?
A little bit more. Yeah, give us some. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take you back down there. If you go down to the bottom, not to hurt anybody's eyes, there's a save and resume later button down here. So if you do that, it'll send you a link and you'll put in your email address right here. So that's the most important part. If you don't save and send yourself the link, you won't be able to return to it.
Hey, Jerry, come on in. How are you, sir? I'm just watching fun videos.
But beyond that, there's a little bit of guidance at each section. So you've got, if you qualify for the grant, and then you'll fill out your basic information. You will need your
Hold on,
Lexington
Victoria.
account number.
Can someone mute their mic? We can hear like the extra. I'm sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But you will need your Lexserv account number, which you can find on your Lexserv bill. There's just some questions that'll break out an additional question. So if you've applied for a grant before, we will want you to list your previous project. All of the questions with a star beside them are required. There's a couple that aren't required. And then let's see, we've got some cost share information that'll be helpful. These are just meant so that you don't have to necessarily reference the packet as much if you just need some basic information. We still recommend that you have it out while you apply, but it's got some, like, if you're wondering what would count for your cost share, you can reference this gray section. And so here you'll put in the amount you're requesting, and if you put in your cost share, it'll calculate your percent cost share so that you know if you're at the 20% or not. So these are a little more in the details. They'll have a character limit, and if you start typing, it'll count down here. I don't know if you all can see that. So you kind of know how close you are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Anything like this is linked so that you can go, if you're interested in the planting manual, if you click the link, it'll take you to the planting manual. Let's see. Like
I
they're
would
mostly,
I was gonna say I would suggest right-clicking and opening up in a new window. That way you can retain the window that you're on. That way you don't have to worry about clicking you
that's
out
good
of it.
advice.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. But yeah, there's a few that will open up additional questions and have you upload something into the supporting documentation section, which will be one of the last sections in the application. So in the supporting documentation, you can upload maps, letters of support, anything else you'll need to accompany your application. And you can upload, here are the file types accepted. So you can do PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, or DocX, which I think is a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is also a file restriction for the budget. I don't think it's listed down here, but it should be limited to Excel files, I think. And for the project schedule as well.
Okay.
You can also download example schedules and example budgets right from the application. And we do recommend that you stay as close to that template as possible. That helps us score your project faster. And then the final section will be an executive summary. You've got a 10,000 character limit. It'll count down again. So with the e-sign section, you sign with your mouse. And then if you have someone else, I think it's not showing up here, but if I'd have answered a different question above, it'll have another section to sign. So if you have like a secondary property owner, I think you'll have to send that to them to sign it as well.
Yeah, I think the question is, are you the property owner? So if the grantee is not the property owner, if the grantee is, for example, the tenant, then you will see that other window pop down and it would, there
we go.
Okay. And it asks for the second signature because, again, the property owner has to sign on to both the application and the contract as an acknowledgement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think as long as you've got all of the sections filled out that are starred, you'll be good to submit. That's all I can think of with that. I don't want to take too long, so we've got time for questions.
Yeah. So thank you, Victoria. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this application, again, the score sheet that you see that I'll pointed out, the link for it, the application document is geared toward answering questions in the score sheet. So if you have the score sheet pulled up and then you have those questions pulled up, you'll be able to see the similarity in terms of what we're asking and why we're asking it, because most of the information in the application packet will deserve some kind of score, some kind of ranking to it. So, some of the information is just general, just so we know who you are, what your account, Lexserv account information, and things of that nature. But most of the questions are for us to get an idea of what you're proposing, and then for us to evaluate those items, and then give you a score based on what you've inputted. But the good point of advice is that the more meat on the bones, the better. So, like, if we asked you, for example, how does your project reduce E. coli? Then, you have to kind of tell us, it's one thing to just say yes, or we might ask, does your project reduce E. coli, help reduce E. coli, or whatever? And instead of just saying yes, you have to say yes, but then give us, what you're proposing and how that particular BMP how it does reduce E. coli. So you have to give us the meat on the bone. The more detail and the more accurate detail, I should say, the better the score you would receive, and what have you. So that's just an example of some advice on how to answer the questions, hopefully as complete as possible. So otherwise, you may see us reach out to you via email for a request for clarification and things of that nature, or if some things was unclear, we might reach out to you via email. But once the deadline passes, the only thing you can do is clarify what you've already put in there. We wouldn't allow you to add components, BMPs, just to receive higher score and things of that nature. So just keep that in mind. Meanwhile, we're going to open the floor real quick so we can get as many questions answered as possible. So everybody don't talk at once, and feel free to fire away your questions. And again, thank you for joining us. Any questions, anyone?
Frank, is this Class B only? Is there any Class A money?
Yeah, so Class A and B education deadline was back at the beginning of May, the first Friday in May. Those applications have been submitted and evaluated and will be awarded during our July 23rd meeting. So those have already been turned in. This session and this time period is for Class B infrastructure grants only. Yes, sir. The next round of Class A's, I was going to say, the next round of Class A's will be our fiscal year 28, and those will open up at the end of February, beginning of March of next year, and that deadline will again be the first Friday of May of 2027, the calendar year. Mm-hmm. Did you have a question, Mr. Reynolds?
We have got, maybe I need to just make a phone call and speak with you specifically about us. This is regarding the Wellington Homeowners Association. And that's the reason I was asking about Class A. We have got a 5-acre, I refer to it as a greenway, that storm drains coming off the street drain into that greenway and then drain into a creek. And over the years, sediment has built up and they don't drain very well. So we're looking at either regrading or doing underground drainage to try and correct that. However, we're a very unique situation. If you're familiar with Reynolds Road and Fayette Mall, everything on Reynolds Road from the railroad tracks all the way to Clay's Mill is in a larger maintenance association. And we pay into that maintenance association, which covers Myers and Covers and professional offices and a hotel and a lot of professional offices. And they're the ones actually responsible for paying for it. So that falls into the business situation of who's responsible for it. So I don't know whether that puts us in a Class A or a Class B.
Okay, so I can comment on that. So sometimes a Class A association type can also qualify for Class B infrastructure if, for example, an association, like in the case where you put it where it's a group of organizations and they're responsible for maintenance of a detention area, what have you. As long as they own Class B or commercial property, then there's a likely chance that they are paying the fee, the water quality management fee, as a commercial fee payer. And yes, they could qualify as that. Also, like say in the case of, I'll give you an example, Andover, they own a clubhouse. So they also pay a commercial fee, the water quality management fee as a commercial fee payer, because they have to pay for the parking lot area. So they get charged by the impervious area in their parking lot, so they can qualify for either Class A or Class B infrastructure. So yeah, and